Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so fired up to have you join us today. Wait till you hear my guest. I got to spend 5 minutes with her, and you guys are going to just be so blown away. But we developed this podcast with the idea of a servant's heart in your life and in your business. Imagine the impact and difference you can make in your world to the people that you serve. Also, we bringing guests on there are going to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you that servant's heart, how to grow, how to give, and how to be super successful, like my guest today. And you're going to see some great things she gives away just to help all of you. And audience, here's your call to action today. Think about how you're going to serve yourself and others today and what impact you'll create today. The key word is today. And we were just talking before the show about indecisiveness. She takes action. That's why she said, do the same thing with serving. Just finish watching this show and maybe share the show with somebody else going, hey, I just listened to this guest. Oh my God. That is one of the many ways you can serve. And I want to thank my sponsor today, Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs and business leaders to create a thought leader platform to help grow and change the world. And you get to be part of that. For more information, just reach out to me and I'll get you all that information. With that being said, impact, difference, that's what my guests do. And this wonderful lady's been doing it for many years. She looks 40. She's been doing it for 40 years. So she started very young, half kidding. But she's a servant's heart. She's giving and still succeeding. With that being said, I'm going to hopefully I say this thing right. Ral West, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Steve.
Did I get close?
Ral West, yes.
Ral West, yeah, I got it right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for having us, having me, having you, whatever. You know what I mean.
Yes.
Why do you give so much?
Why? Well, it's just a beautiful thing to do, and it makes me feel good. And I get tremendous, it's a little bit selfish. I get tremendous satisfaction and a feeling of reward when I see other people benefit from what I'm able to give. And I don't mean just money. I mean, we're monetarily generous too. But when I can help somebody have a better life, improve their business, that gives joy to me. So yeah, I'm giving, but I'm also receiving.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, all of that, because audience is so powerful. You got big background, lots of experience. You've sold ships, you've been worked with companies. What did you learn in your background to help you be a better person, a better servant today?
Oh my goodness. Well, how long do we have?
I'm glad you said that.
Well, Steve, when I was still very, very young as an entrepreneur, I started investing in myself, in personal development, courses, mentors, you name it. I just was a sponge, soaking up as much as I possibly could. And all of these people and all of these resources have helped shape me into the business person and the leader that I have become. And boy, if you'd asked me when I was like 18 or 20 years old, what will you be doing 50, 60 years from now? This would not have been on my mind. So I followed the path that was laid out for me, and there were opportunities that came up. And so my husband and I, we seized them. We we took huge risks. I mean, risks that our family and friends were shaking their heads and going, "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" Our CPA was just like, that's a big risk. And I'm like, yeah, we know, but we've done our homework, we've done the math, we've looked at our spreadsheets, and we think it's a calculated risk. So we're going to do it. And most of the time we won. Now, there were times that we didn't win, but that happens.
Well, and that's important, Rob, because you didn't win all the time. Warren Buffett didn't win all the time. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
You're not going to win an audience. If you're an entrepreneur, you're going to have mistakes and losses, right?
Yeah. Well, and as Robert Kiyosaki, one of my mentors, said, every mistake is a learning opportunity. So I would use those mistakes to drum it into my head. Okay, this is what you're not going to do next time. So I am a, walking encyclopedia of things
Yeah.
not to do and how to do it better. And that's what I'm trying to share now in this phase of my life is just like, hey, you don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. I can teach you how to avoid them, and I can teach you how to have the life that you really want and deserve and have your successful business because I've done it. I've been in the boots slogging through the muck and figured it out. And, there was no school or class or anything that taught me exactly what to do. But, you just hone everything, you bring everything in, you soak it up and you experiment and you just do it.
Your audience, she's giving away everything she learned. So you don't have to spend 40 years of ups and downs. You might be able to flatten that curve a little bit.
Yeah.
That's why I love having you on,
And
what you're doing.
it's a lot cheaper too. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
on my
Good
education.
point. That's a great point. That's $1 million point right there. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. So let's segue into your courses and your mastermind, because that's where you do the magic happens. Talk about those, the
Yeah.
inspiration for those.
Okay, well, the inspiration from my course was actually came from my adult daughters who said, Mom,
Hmm.
you guys are living the dream. That's what your friends all say. You guys are living the dream. You travel all the time. You have your businesses. You're off to Europe. You have a yacht. You have two homes. I want to be like you. And so our daughters said, why don't you teach them how to do it, Mom? You know how it is that you were able to achieve this life. So teach them. And I went, well, I don't know, and then I started looking at what becoming a personal brand means. And I'm like, oh, that sounds scary. I'm not sure I want to do that. But then my character kicked in and I said, well, why not? I will learn. And so
Yeah.
so I jumped in and started learning, and I hired lots of coaches. I'm fortunate to be able to hire people who know what this business looks like and how to do it. And yet even with the coaches, I still make mistakes, but I'm moving forward. And I decided that one of the best ways that I could maintain my lifestyle and still get the word out that I want to
Mhm.
teach is to have a one-to-many approach, which would be to have an online course. So I took a course on how to create an online course. And then I started building the course. And so in less than 2 years, I created an 8-module course. And what I did was I looked back through my 40 plus years of experience and asked myself, okay, what were the key things that stand out as the things that truly made the difference in our success? And I honed in on 6 principles, or I call them my 6 essential secrets to business success. Just a bit of a tongue twister. But anyway, the course is built around those 6 principles, but it's 8 modules because there's a beginning and an end, and then the 6 principles are in the middle. And every module has video lessons and worksheets that take you step by step through the process of applying these 6 principles to your business and to your life. And, I have examples. I include resources, examples from our businesses. And just an aside here, one of our businesses, our probably major business in our life, was one that we started about the time John and I met. And it grew to 8 figures in annual revenue over a period of 25 years. And we sold it to Alaska Airlines in 2008. Now, that was the point at which most people, most sane people would say, hey, we can retire. We've got it made, right? But no, we couldn't do that. We still had energy and enthusiasm and ideas. So we started investing in small cruise ships. And there were cruise ships that were bank owned. So
Mm.
the cruise line had gone bankrupt, ships went back to the bank, and we were able to pick them up for pennies on the dollar. And then we were able to use our resources to plow money into them to fix them up and make them ready for passengers. And we found a small cruise line that would be willing to operate them for us. So we leased the ships to that cruise line, and those ships are still operating with that cruise line, but we have sold them gradually to that cruise line. And when COVID hit in 2020, we had one ship left, and we got a phone call in March of 2020 saying, the ship is tied up at the dock. We are not allowed to operate it. Canada won't let us in. These ships mostly operated to Alaska, but also Mexico and the Columbia River and so forth. And yeah, no, the ship's not operating. And I'm sure everybody knows that really no ships were operating for a long time. So we are the kind of people that we pay attention to what's going on in the world around us. And that's one of my lessons, one of my principles, is be on the lookout for what's happening around you. Don't keep the blinders on. And so we realized that, okay, this is a sign we need to pivot away from the cruise industry because it's going to be a while before it recovers. And so we did our investigation and our research and decided that the next thing would be multifamily real estate because people were needing to rent. Homes were becoming too expensive. The rental market was booming. So we started investing in syndications where you become a partner in purchasing an apartment complex. So we've invested in over 6,000 apartment units across the United States. And of course, our timing was impeccable because we started investing just before the interest rates really started to climb. So, it's not an easy road right now, but we still believe in the fundamentals. And so we're hanging in there.
Yeah, and it's amazing how you full circle back in the day marketing. You had to learn to do advertising, and now you're doing the course, and you went back and learned and uncomfortable and learned
Yes.
how to do courses, and here you are.
Right. And, the principles are still the same as they were
Yeah,
40 years ago, 50 years ago, but the technology is entirely different. So that's where the learning comes in is, how do you apply the principles using today's technology, AI, for example? And, just a few months ago, I'm like, AI, oh God, I don't know how to do that. Oh. And now I'm using it every day. It's just incredible. It's such a game changer. Saves so much time.
oh, it is, and you're such a learner. I could tell because you're so passionate when you talk about learning. And now I can do AI every day. Where
Yeah,
3 4 months
yeah,
ago, what the heck is that?
yeah.
That's a great lesson for your audience to listen to learn. I've always wondered the difference between an owner and an operator in a business. What is the difference?
Oh, there's a huge difference.
Okay.
So the owner uh, gets to go off and have vacations and enjoy their life, whereas the operator is stuck in the day to day. The business owns them. You started a business, but really what you did is you bought yourself a job. And, that's really, I don't think what most people have in mind when they say, "Ooh,
Mhm.
I want to have my own business." They don't really want to be a slave to that business. What they really want is freedom. They want the freedom to make their own decisions, to be creative, and to have a life that they really enjoy. And as I said before, that definition of what that enjoyment looks like is different for everybody. But I believe that you need to start your business with the idea of the future life that you want in mind. And then you build your business to support that lifestyle, not the other way around. And you don't want to be stuck being the operator. But in order to be able to transition from being the operator, because when you start out, you are the operator, you're doing everything. I did. Um, and it was painful, very painful. I
Yeah.
was, I was exhausted. I was overweight and out of shape, and my health suffered. My family suffered. It was not pretty. But I had to learn how to develop systems and how to delegate, how to build a team around me, how to use leverage. I didn't understand what the word leverage meant. But I studied with Robert Kiyosaki, and he was a great teacher on that score and many others. And so we learned how to build this business that could grow and scale and allow us to step back out of the day to day. And we hired a chief operating officer and a chief financial officer and said, here you go. This is everything that we've built. This is our culture. These are our fundamentals. This is our processes, our principles, all of that, and run with it. And they did. And they grew the company way more than we had imagined. And
Yeah.
it was fabulous. But there we were sitting in our second home in Maui and cruising around on our yacht, you know, and we had the
Yeah.
metrics, we had the reports and the tracking so that we knew how the business was doing. It wasn't like we just ran off and, never looked back at the business. We had eyes on it, but we had eyes on it from afar and from the
Yeah.
reports. And then we had our regular meetings with the management, and we would touch base. So that's how you do it.
Takes a village. I love
Yes.
that phrase. And
And
you
it
just
doesn't have to
described
be
that.
a huge village. It can be
No.
just a few people. If you're a solopreneur, you can still have a team. This little business of mine, I've got a team. I've got a virtual assistant. I've got a marketing company. I've got my bookkeeper, my CPA. That's my team.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the help. You can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship and business is not a lone adventure.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. Even if you're not single solo entrepreneur, solopreneur as they call it, you're going to have a team somewhere somehow
Yeah.
to help you grow and manage the business. Philanthropic. You're very philanthropic from what I've read. How does that play into the business philosophy?
Well, gosh, we learned about being philanthropic actually from Robert Kiyosaki too. He
Mhm.
believed that the more you give, the more you get back. And so we adopted his philosophy and started, giving a percentage of our income every year. And we were a very prominent supporter of community uh, activities and causes in Anchorage, Alaska, which is where we operated our business. And we even won an award for, our service efforts in the community.
Wow.
But how it helped grow our business is that, we operated wide body jets between Alaska and Hawaii, and we chartered them. So we were able to give trips to Hawaii. So there would be a charity that wanted to have a fundraiser, and so we would give them trips to Hawaii that they would use in a raffle or whatever other fundraising effort that they had. And so it helped us too because it was public relations. It got the word out about us. Our community loved us. We loved our community, and it was a two-way street. So it's a very good thing. But then we moved on from just things that would help the business to uh, contributing to causes that were very near and dear to our hearts. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is education. And there was a small private school in Anchorage that was just starting out, and it was about to close its doors because
Mm.
they just didn't have the money to operate, and the landlord was about to foreclose on the lease, and so on. Let's kick them out. All this, and we had money that we had set aside for charitable purposes, and so we stepped in and saved the school and ended up buying the property and becoming the landlords to the school. And over the course of the next several years, we probably gave over $2 million to the school. And the school is still running. So do I feel wonderful about all of the children that have benefited from that education, including our own two daughters? I mean, absolutely,
Yeah.
makes me feel very good.
Great thing too is you gave and you received. You get,
Yeah.
$2 million, but you received money, but also what you're saying, the heartfelt warmth of what you did, which is not money, but it's a lot like money to me. It's energy, right?
Yeah, and you can always make more money, but what you do with it is really the important thing. And yes, you want to have a good time with it, and I enjoy the finer things in life, but I also love enriching people around me. And
Right.
we live in a small town, Sitka, Alaska, and we're major contributors to most of the nonprofits in this community. So
God, you're such a blessing. We're
what we
coming
do,
to the end here.
uh,
Go ahead. You were going to say something?
it's just what we do. We love it.
Yeah. And see that how her response to that is just matter of fact. It's just part of their DNA of what they do. And you build to that audience like I do. It's matter of fact to me. I help there. We're not looking at transactions, always transformational. And that's your large heart really shows in this podcast. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I want to end with a fun question. I think you're going to love this question. So I've reserved a table at a restaurant in Alaska for you, table of 4. You're going to sit in one of the chairs, say you and your husband. The other 3 empty chairs, who would you invite, dead or alive? Why would you invite them? And what food would you order?
My God, Steve.
It's a question, isn't it?
That's probably one of the most difficult questions I've ever been asked. Um, Dead or alive? Oh, well, goodness. Um, That is a very broad range. Well, I would have to say I would want to have Robert Kiyosaki at that table, and I would want to have Tony Robbins at that table, and Deepak Chopra.
What a table. Holy moly. Might have to get a 6 chair for me. That sounds wonderful.
And in terms of what I would serve, well, Deepak is probably, Ayurvedic vegetarian, and Robert is most likely he wants steak. And and I'm not sure about Tony, but he's a big man, so he'd want to eat a lot. So
Yeah. Whatever they like. What's your favorite food? If it were you, what's your favorite food?
steak.
Steak. There we go.
Steak, I'm a carnivore. Steak and baked potato.
Amen. Okay.
A loaded
Definitely have
baked
to have.
potato. Yeah.
Well, again, incredible podcast. You're an incredible guest. I know people listening are going, how can I reach out to Ral? How can they find you?
Oh, well, very easily, actually. If you know my name, you'll find me. And my website is ralwest.com. On LinkedIn, I'm Ral West. I have a weekly newsletter that's Ral's Success Principles on LinkedIn. That please subscribe to it. Every week, there's very actionable tips and strategies on what you can do to improve your business. And on my website, you'll find information about my course, a free webinar that I offer, and just be in touch. Reach out to me. I would love to see what I could do to teach you how to have the life that you really deserve.
Thank you, Ral. And she also has free resources on her website. She mentioned some tools that you can use for free. I'm going to add that to it again.
Like the 6 Secrets to Essential Business Success is a PDF that you can get for free.
There you go. What a great way to start your business or grow your business. And subscribe to her newsletter, subscribe to my podcast on YouTube. And here's why. You read her newsletter or watch this podcast and you know somebody that could be interested, share that link to them, to her newsletter or podcast. To me, that's a servant's heart gift, because if they read the newsletter and it helps them grow their business, well, who they thank for? It's you. You gave them a gift. Be a servant's heart. Use these as gifts. I think they're the most powerful gifts in the world, especially when they're free. With that being said, I want to thank all of you. Well, me and Ral want to thank all of you for watching and listening to this podcast. We'll see you all on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.